When the NFL schedule makers set up Week 17, they dreamed of Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes in some massive gunslinging affair with an over-under probably in the mid-50s. Sadly, that's not the case. The Chiefs are struggling. The Bengals look feisty, but Jake Browning's also come back to earth with a bump at times. Do you think this is a matchup that could have shootout potential, or do we think it's going to be a kind of defensive stalemate?
Well, the Bengals defense isn't playing particularly great right now. They've been struggling. They lost DJ Reader, and they rank 28th against the run. The Chiefs rank 29th against the run, so neither of these two teams is going to be able to stop the other on the ground. Mahomes needs a get-right spot against the pass simply because, last week his 4.0 average depth of target was the lowest of his career, which is just mind-boggling, really. And it wasn't like the Chiefs were just crushing through those short yardage throws. The Bengals, they've allowed 10 tight end one games, which is the most of any team in the league. So it sets up to be a week where Travis Kelce can get right. I think that Kelce really needs that because his scoring has been incredibly disappointing. He's gone 5 straight weeks without a touchdown, been the tight end 20 in the last 2 weeks, which that's not what you pay a first-round pick for. So, yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase isn't going to play this week by the sounds of it, which helps T. Higgins. But the Chiefs rank 5th best against the pass. So it's kind of really difficult to see how the points are going to get there for the Bengals. Joe Mixon is an okay play. Since week 12, both Josh Jacobs and James Cook scored 22 or more PPR points against his Chiefs defense. So perhaps the Bengals just lean really run heavy. But if the Chiefs go out and put up good points through Travis Kelce or even Rashee Rice early on, I can't see a way back into it for the Bengals.
No, I mean, I think that this is going to be Rashee Rice announcing himself to kind of fantasy superstardom this week. I love the matchup. I think that his ability after the catch is going to be phenomenal. We've seen, last 5 weeks, fantasy production of 24.7, 14.4, 18.2, 24.1, 11.7. It feels like he's having a really great stretch that everybody's going to talk constantly about in the offseason. And I think that this could be the icing on the cake as such. I'm all in on Rashee Rice this week. As I mentioned, he's a top 6 option for me this week. I did want to touch on the Patrick Mahomes point, though. You talk about 4.0 ADOT last week, lowest of his career. His ADOT this year is the lowest of his career as well. He's at 6.9. But the biggest concern for me is that his time to throw is also at the slowest. You talk about Tua getting the ball out on average about 2.5 seconds. Patrick Mahomes is up over 3 this year for the first time in his career. And I think that's the problem, is that Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing well because he's not got wide receivers that can get open. And the problem is that he's having to hold the ball for longer because receivers aren't getting open downfield. They still don't get open, so therefore he's having to check it down. And that's why his ADOT is so low. The only thing that works at the moment in this Chiefs offense is the screen game. And that's where I potentially think it could be a huge Rashee Rice week, because we know that he is going to get utilized heavily in that screen game.
Yeah, you look at it and it's his last 4 finishes: Mahomes, QB 17, QB 20, QB 17, QB 18. It's just not been what anyone signed on for in terms of that experience. And yeah, without Jerick McKinnon, maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a little bit more utilization like that. I believe Isaiah Pacheco is concussed. Got concussed when his helmet came off, then he immediately got smacked in the face. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire in week 17, I didn't expect it. But yeah, the Bengals, I already talked about it. They've got the 5th worst run defense in DVOA, so she gets there.
Hold your nose, but fire it up. I think, all those people that drafted him 101 overall in those Dynasty leagues all those years ago, I hope you still got him and you can at least potentially get some value back on that draft pick right now. But before we move on to our next matchup, help us with our goal. Tom and I sat down and we said we want to hit 1,500 subscribers by the end of the season. We are so close. We are so close. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead, do so. Let's click subscribe right now. We have got so much planned for the off season. Do it now, and it will help you later.